This Vinted drama is an overblown, baseless conspiracy that is directly harming real victims of trafficking. And the worst thing about it all is that a large portion of the people watching this video are so stubborn or fearful of being misled or wrong about anything that they will stand firm in their belief that Vinted is trafficking children because they heard it in a TikTok or a comment somewhere. I don't usually start videos this candidly, but every video or comment that you've seen or shared that has fed into this conspiracy is, however unintentionally, directly harming real victims of child trafficking and also destroying the conversation surrounding trafficking in general. Which, when it's already so hard to find actual, insightful, meaningful conversation regarding the safety of children online, that really gets to me. Not to mention, it's yet another case of the misinformed, easy to manipulate, gullible, unforgivably stupid and stubborn internet hive mind striking once again with a bastion of hundreds or thousands of unverified, baseless TikTok comments that they've all mindlessly believed and are now refusing to listen to any opposing viewpoints, despite how true they might be. Because their fragile ego is more important to them than the actual genuine safety of the children that they pretend to care about so much. Now, there's a couple categories of people that probably have a certain reaction to this video so far. One, people who believe this conspiracy and haven't looked too into it and are maybe a little bit shocked that I'm so vehemently denying that any of it is true. Two, people who have heard about the conspiracy, are aware of how false it is, and are just, I don't know, watching to hear my thoughts on it. Three, one of the stubborn idiots that I've just mentioned who are probably typing out comments talking about how I'm wrong already or refusing to watch the rest of the video. And four, and this is a big one, people who have no idea what I'm talking about. So for those people, and all the other ones too, let's talk about what's actually happening. So this here is the Vinted website. It is very similar to websites like Depop or Temu or eBay. It's a Lithuanian company. It was founded in 2008 and it's, you know, still going strong to this day. Now this here, I've just clicked on a random posting on the kids section where they're selling this jumper. This is what a normal listing will look like, right? This one's for a 7-year-old, 7 years, 122 centimeters. Now that 122 centimeters most likely was not put in by the person who made this listing, and this will become very important later. When you put the age of the child in that you are trying to sell this to, Vinted will auto-fill the proportions and sizes based on the age of the child. This usually isn't a big deal because a lot of the clothes on Vinted are super cheap, so proportions don't need to be exact. In fact, proportions on Vinted have been a conversation for a while now, whether it be how difficult it is to get a hold of them, or how annoying buyers are when they ask for them, or how unwilling some people are to actually give them to people. It's been a conversation for a while. Now, a lot of listings for either clothes or toys have been going pretty viral online for the extremely disproportionate level of pricing that has been added to them, right? This one, for example, should not be worth 3,700 euros. I'm pretty sure we can all agree on that. It looks like a piece of tacky garbage. So, of course, the only reasonable explanation is that it's a cover-up for the child that they are trafficking to go alongside it, and that the 5 years / 110 centimeters good condition thing is actually to do with the child that they're selling. Now, just before people who know a bit more about this drama start commenting, I know that things get a lot worse and more egregious as time goes on. Don't worry, I will be explaining those too. So this right here is another quirk of Vinted. It's very easy to accidentally overprice your stuff on Vinted because it fills out the pricing by thousands a lot of the time, so it's very common for people to make mistakes and not realize that they price things very highly. However, it is also very common for people to intentionally massively overprice their products so that people can only respond via offers, essentially. So if someone sells a pair of Lely Kelly shoes, for example, for £2,000, no one is buying them for £2,000. So instead of outright buying them, people will leave their own offers for an amount of money that they deem to be more acceptable, right? And then the buyers can go through said offers, or the sellers rather, can go through said offers, pick the one that best suits them, and then sell it for that price. It's essentially a little loophole that a lot of sellers use to, I guess, replicate something similar to an auction type of selling. However, there was some discussion at this point because people started to, you know, theorize that there might be some child trafficking going on, and that would be the reason for the raised pricing and the 5-year-olds and the 120 centimeters and all that kind of thing, right? So, when this started to become semi-popular, trolls started making listings of random bullshit. And this isn't just me saying this, by the way. There have been investigations, and we will be covering all the very verifiable evidence here. I'm just trying to get the base sort of context set up for you guys first. So here we go. Here's a great example. Vintage sexy Barbie doll for 3,675 euros. It's description: 3, tight, used to it, doesn't bite, doesn't scream, toilet trained, can suck well, small, skinny. All this disgusting language, obviously. Now, you should be very happy to know that this is not a real listing. There is not a real child being sold here. This is is some degenerate troll with nothing better to do with their life, probably fucking depressed, probably has nothing going on, just trying to stir drama and cause panic, right? And again, this is not just me saying this. Believe me, this video's, this video's a little bit, this is a long video. We're gonna go through a lot of shit here. And there's a lot of these too. You got big plush seal, 2 years, pink, doesn't bite, used to it, tight. And this one's for only $4.90. Like, if that's not the biggest giveaway that this is bullshit, I don't know what is. No one's selling a child for $5 on Vinted. That's not even how child trafficking works. You don't go on fucking Vinted and sell children. It's God, I can't believe people actually believed this. And I understand that there's like big panic and hysteria at the thought of children being sold, and I understand that. But when actual investigations take place and verify that nothing of the sort is happening, you need to fucking believe them, because, as we'll get into later, you are directly damaging actual victims of child trafficking here. You are making it harder for actual investigations on actual cases to take place in the manner of which that they should. There we go, plushie, $500, very similar, 4 years old, brunette, brown eyes, shy. Again, $500, come on now. Like, what are we doing here? These are trolls. These are people these are just losers who are making listings to panic people with whatever shit they have lying around the house, I guess. Yeah, there's loads. I'm just gonna let the rest of this video play out and probably replace the music. As you can see from the descriptions, children are being sex trafficked on Vinted under toys listing with insanely high prices, along with descriptions along the lines of those in this video. Speak up! And then everyone in the comments is biting. Every single person in these comments believes what is going on. Doesn't fight back, has me in tears, because what? Holy fuck, this is unbelievable. It's so sad to see proof of this and know there's too many corrupted people in power to fix this. And then we get one person with an actual fucking brain. Genuinely don't see any proof of this except the price. Can someone please explain? I've been on Vinted listings, so it seems normal to me, just pricey for real. And then everyone in the comments is saying like, oh no, the descriptions, the tight doesn't, and obviously, yeah, that is something that you would describe a child sex trafficking victim, I suppose, mainly if you know nothing about child sex trafficking, sure. However, it's not proof of anything. Like, these are trolls, they're trolling. It's a really shitty prank. There's a lot more, of course, I want to talk about, but I actually want to make it clear, I want to like go through the actual evidence that none of this is real first, because I feel like that's very important. And I really hope you guys haven't just clicked off and fucked me off because you think I'm like being too kind to sex traffickers or whatever. It's because I am against child sex trafficking that I'm making this video. Because these people, the person who uploaded that TikTok and the commenters don't realize just how much harm they're actually doing. And it's very obvious that they have good intentions, by the way. So hopefully if any of them are watching this video, their good intentions will show and they will actually, hear me out and realize that they were wrong. So we'll go over some articles. Lithuania's Vinted says no proof sales linked to child trafficking. Media previously reported that French authorities had launched an investigation into Vinted, Europe's largest second-hand online marketplace and Lithuania's first unicorn, following allegations that some listings may have been used to facilitate child trafficking. In a statement to BNS, Vinted said fact-checking organization Mimikama found no substantiated evidence linking to the listings of child trafficking. The claim that children are being sold on the Vinted platform is not supported by the screenshots circulating online. They may indicate trolling, dubious advertisements, incorrectly selected categories, provocation, or misuse of the platform. However, they are not evidence of child trafficking, Mimikama said on the website. Now, I looked into Mimikama. Mimikama is a German company. This is their website here. For everyone who knows German, I guess you'll know what this means. I think I can pretty accurately guess what Fakten checks means, though, in English, so. But Mimikama is widely respected for its rigorous and transparent and very reliable research. It's an award-winning, independent fact-checking organization that specializes in debunking fake internet hoaxes in particular. Fake news, online scams, the lot, that kind of thing, right? They're frequently consulted by mainstream European media regarding viral misinformation, and they have a repertoire of tens of thousands of fact checks over the years, proving their reliability. And if you want to go through their website, every fact check will explain exactly how the conclusions were reached. They show primary sources, they show original photos, official statements. There is no funding from any political parties or corporations. It relies mainly on public donations, workshops, and sponsorships. Bottom line is, this company can be trusted. Like, they're vehemently anti-abuse, and if there was horrible shit going on here, they would say, they got a proven track record here. According to Vinted, some of the listings are deliberately created to fuel allegations of child trafficking. Yeah, that is absolutely what's going on here. It's not only is that what's going on here, it's obviously what's going on here. Like, we know the internet. We know how shit people can be. We know that it's not unbelievable that people would be sick enough to troll or cause panic by making listings such as the ones that we just saw. Like, that should not come as a shock to anyone, unfortunately. In cases where such listings are intentionally fabricated to provoke this discussion, we remove them immediately and take action against the associated accounts, including blocking them. We are cooperating with the competent authorities conducting their investigation, the company told BNS. Lithuanian news website 15 Minutes, citing Spanish outlet Mundo America, reported on Friday that dozens of screenshots and videos showing Vinted listings have been circulating on social media, claims that they may be being used to disguise child trafficking. Okay, now again, before I go into any of the other stuff that has been going on Vinted and stuff like that, I actually want to make it clear why this is very harmful to victims of child sex trafficking. Because, you know, it gets a little annoying if I keep saying that, but don't actually explain what I mean by that. And to explain, I feel like we need to go back in time a little bit to a very similar situation to this one, involving a company called Wayfair. Now, Wayfair was a US-based company that sold sort of deluxe furniture, mainly. And on the 14th of June, 2020, unfounded claims started appearing. Wayfair said that there were no truth to these claims. The claims originated in the QAnon community, many of whom believed in the far-right conspiracy theory that there's a secret plot by a supposed deep state against President Trump and his supporters. A well-known activist tweeted about the high price of storage cabinets being sold by online retailer Wayfair. The user pointed out that the cabinets were all listed with girls' names, prompting followers to allege that the pieces of furniture actually had children hidden in them as part of a supposed child trafficking ring. Oh boy. Alright, Jesus Christ. Anyway, here's a tweet that went viral at the time. My spidey senses are tingling. What's with these storage cabinets? Extremely high prices, all listed with girls' names, and identical units selling for different amounts. The initial tweet gained little traction until discussion about it reignited on a Reddit discussion group called Our Conspiracy, almost a month later on the 9th of July. By that point, QAnon followers were making supposed links between the fact that some expensive pieces of Wayfair furniture are named after girls and actual cases of missing children in the US with the same names. Some of these children are no longer missing, and one woman who was mentioned when a cabinet with her name was linked to her alleged disappearance as a teenager did a Facebook Live refuting the claims. She said she never went missing in the first place. When it comes to why some of these items are named after children, Wayfair has explained that the company uses an algorithm to name its products. Other retailers also use first names to brand their products. It's acknowledged that the high prices listed may have led to confusion, but says these particular cabinets are large, industrial-size items meant for business or commercial use. A spokesperson told BBC News, "We have temporarily removed the products from our site to rename them and to provide a more in-depth description and photos that accurately depict the product to clarify the price point." There are also baseless claims that personalized pillows, which can cost up to $10,000, are that expensive because it involves trafficking a child. Wayfair has refuted this and put it down to a price glitch on their website. The same sort of glitches can be seen sometimes with other online sellers. So yeah, just to sort of add to the entire this is harmful thing, a lot of the time these conspiracy theories that go so viral are used as some sort of right-wing pipeline to introduce people to conservatism. You know, those silly conspiracies that a lot of them have, that dinosaurs aren't real and tornadoes can be made with like tornado machines and all this bullshit. This child sex trafficking one is another one that a lot of them, you know, come out with every now and then. It wasn't long before QAnon activists put forward a new theory. Some said that after stock keeping unit numbers of specific Wayfair products into Yandex, a major Russian search engine, images of young women would appear in the search results. That claim was true, but was down to a glitch in the search engine. Yandex seemed to have corrected the issue now, as we found similar searches no longer return images of young women. Although it began in the US, the conspiracy theory soon became a global trend. According to data from CrowdTangle, a Facebook-owned social media analytics tool, the term Wayfair has generated 4.4 million engagements on Instagram. It also spread rapidly on public groups and pages on Facebook, resulting in more than 12,000 posts and nearly 1 million direct engagements. Analysis by BBC Monitoring shows the theory also gained huge traction in Turkey, with the second highest amount of content after the US. In Latin America, a YouTube post about the conspiracy by a popular Argentine YouTube personality had nearly 90,000 views over the weekend. Yeah, I mean, this video is probably going to get a lot more than 90,000 views, by the way. So I think this conspiracy theory is a lot bigger than the Wayfair one. And the Wayfair one caused a lot of damage and issues and sort of, prohibitions on actual investigations on actual child sex trafficking victims. So I can only imagine how harmful this one is. Again, we'll get to that in just a second, but I want to finish this article. It has similarities to the unfounded Pizzagate conspiracy that spread across the internet when Hillary Clinton was running for US president in 2016. The fabricated claims, which began on social media, suggested that a pizza restaurant in Washington, D.C. was at the center of a supposed child sex ring linked to the former presidential candidate's inner circle. The conspiracy theory became so big it resulted in a US man opening fire in the pizza restaurant in question. Now, in order to understand just how harmful this claim is for real victims, we need to talk about a website called Polaris. Now, Polaris is the leading non-profit organization for North America in combating labor and sex trafficking. They were founded in 2002 by 2 university students who were inspired to act after a brothel was found near their university campus. This expanded, of course, and it is now one of the largest anti-trafficking organizations in the world, and even has done a lot of work in like Japan and Asia and that kind of thing too. But again, primarily operating in North America. And again, this is a highly reliable and acclaimed organization. There's a very deeply entrenched survivor-centered approach. A lot of the people working there are people who have lived experience, either as victims or people who have, worked to prevent this kind of thing from happening before. And they use this, of course, to inform their strategy, leadership, and policy decisions. They've analyzed decades worth of hotline data, and because of that, they have one of the largest and most comprehensive data sets on human trafficking in North America. One of their best features is the very precise mapping out of 25 distinct business models that traffickers use to operate very commonly. Again, bottom line, this is a great organization that does very good work. And when Wayfair happened, they were getting a lot of requests to, stop the alleged trafficking from going on and to investigate Wayfair the way that they investigate all their other cases. They put out an official statement at the time, and I would like to give it a read. Over the past several days, the National Human Trafficking Hotline has received hundreds of reports that reference a series of viral posts claiming online retailer Wayfair has been involved in a complex scheme involving sex trafficking of children. While Polaris treats all calls to the trafficking hotline seriously, the extreme volume of these contacts has made it more difficult for the trafficking hotline to provide support and attention to others who are in need of help. The trafficking hotline connects victims and survivors of sex and labor trafficking to services and supports that allow them to get help and stay safe. The trafficking hotline is not a law enforcement agency, but does collaborate with law enforcement as appropriate. Our role in situations like this is to provide information for potential investigation to other agencies as warranted. All contact with the trafficking hotline is confidential. What we can say is that none of the reports we have received involving Wayfair contain any information beyond what has been widely shared online, nor have any of these reports been made by someone who has a specific connection to any alleged missing children. We deeply appreciate those members of the public who have contacted the trafficking hotline out of heartfelt concern. In the vast majority of situations, the people in the best position to identify trafficking and victims are survivors themselves and the people who know them. This may be friends or family members, teachers, but may also be people who have some information but are not necessarily close to the situation. We strongly encourage everyone to learn more about what human trafficking really looks like in most situations and about how you can help fight trafficking in your own community. And then they have a link here showing the signs and teaching people what actual bona fide human trafficking looks like. I will be linking this in the description because I think it is immensely important right now. And I also think it'd be good to put all the worry that you have and a lot of the good intentions that a lot of you genuinely do have into a good place and actually learn about what human trafficking can look like. The Washington Post also put out an amazing article at the time talking about how the viral Wayfair sex trafficking lie hurt real children, derailing real trafficking investigations and inciting the Save the Children violence. It goes over the stories of a bunch of innocent little girls who were being harassed and tormented because people thought they were real actual victims of trafficking based on the whole QAnon conspiracy. I'm going to be reading some excerpts from this article, not the entire thing. It is a very long one, but again, I'll link this in the description too. Nearly 2 months after Wayfair was trending on Twitter, a real victim of sex trafficking was sitting in a hospital emergency room in the Florida Panhandle. A nurse giving her a sexual assault examination had recognized the warning signs. She called a local advocate who would come to learn this woman was in her 30s, had been coerced by 2 men to sell herself out of a hotel. In exchange, she got a place to stay. The advocate, Katie Howard, knew this was what most sex trafficking looked like in America. Not kidnapping, not stranger danger, not Wayfair cabinets or pillows, and now we can add on to that, not Vinted listings. Just a person being manipulated by someone exploiting their vulnerability. Howard knew, too, what she needed to do. Call the National Human Trafficking Hotline, which provides resources to people being coerced into commercial sex or any kind of forced labor. And here's where it gets really, really morbid. When she called, she was placed on hold. It was late, so she filed a written assistance request for this victim instead. That request landed in an inbox still full of people who wanted Wayfair to be investigated and Samara and the other kids in their social media feeds to be rescued. Highly trained advocates at Polaris, the non-profit that operates the hotline on behalf of the Department of Health and Human Services, had been repeating the same response for weeks. We've actually already heard about this. We understand that law enforcement has already determined that this information is unfounded. Even before Pizzagate, they were accustomed to hearing the sensational myths people believed about trafficking, from zip ties on cars to secret messages in the snow. For years, they had been explaining to the public that most victims of sex trafficking are exploited by someone they already know. The charming guy from Instagram, whose threats don't start until the 10th date. The generous landlord who offers a different way to pay the rent. The heroin-addicted parents who, just this once, let someone pay to touch their teenager. Now legions of callers were parroting QAnon propaganda, most without even knowing it. The majority of people who were swept up in this misinformation really believed that this was a human trafficking ring and that no one cared, said hotline director Megan Cutter, who had to call in extra staff for weeks. Both Polaris and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children passed on everything they were hearing about the Wayfair claims to local police and federal agencies. Ongoing investigations across the country were put on hold while a viral lie took precedence. At Homeland Security, that impacted all 30 field officers, said Ramon Padilla, acting division chief for the Center for Countering Human Trafficking. That time could be spent trying to identify real victims and doing the stuff that investigators need to do in order to get a prosecution and ensure that these traffickers go to jail, Padilla said. Polaris's insistence that the Wayfair story was false did little to stop its spread. Neither did a statement from Wayfair, which issued a short paragraph saying that there was no truth to the claims and the expensive cabinets in question were were industrial grade and accurately priced. The company hired armed security at several fulfillment centers after an onslaught of threats from people who claimed they were bringing their guns to free the kids. Some pointed to Wayfair's lack of explanation about the pricing of the products, like the Duplessis pillow, as the proof they were hiding something. All the while, the calls, texts, and online reports to the trafficking hotline kept coming, burying requests like the one from the advocate in Florida. The woman at the hospital was afraid of being arrested and she didn't want to talk to the police. "You're not going to get in trouble for this," Howard, the advocate, had assured her. She just wanted to find this trafficking victim a safe place to stay. Howard called the hotline 2 more times that weekend. By the time Polaris's advocates connected her with an organization that had a room to spare, the woman who needed her help had fled. Howard, who had given her a business card, hoped she'd get in touch, but the only call she received was from another hotline advocate, wanting to follow up on the written request that was now 2 weeks old. The advocate apologized for the delay, explaining how backed up they were with callers demanding that they save the children. She was ready to provide support however she could with this case. Howard explained to the hotline worker that it was too late. She was never heard from the woman who asked for her help again. Perhaps most tragically of all, there was one woman who ended up dying as a result of her belief in this QAnon conspiracy. Roseanne Boylan had been up all night watching YouTube and sending links about Wayfair to her family. At 34, Roseanne didn't have kids of her own, and because of cervical cancer, she likely never would. But she had nieces to think about, the 4- and 5-year-old girls who loved to paint her fingernails, cover her driveway in sidewalk chalk, and call her Roro. Roseanne texted her sisters, Blair and Lona, about Wayfair again. It was not like, "Oh, this is so crazy." She was really upset, Blair remembered. She wanted to look more into it to try and help put an end to it. Blair knew her sister, like so many people, was having a tough time during the pandemic. Roseanne couldn't attend the in-person Alcoholics Anonymous meetings that had helped her keep away from the opioids for the last few years. Now it seemed like she was replacing her old addiction with a new one. Although YouTube had begun removing false information about Wayfair and QAnon that July, Roseanne's family said she was still finding video after video about the furniture site and Jeffrey Epstein, the Clintons and cabals, Pizzagate and pedophiles. In a couple-week period, she was fully into QAnon and the celebrities eating children for their andecronome. It really happened quick, Blair said. By fall, Roseanne, who'd never voted or shown interest in politics, was touting Trump's brilliance. By the holidays, she was talking about the election being stolen. She was certain that on January 6th, Trump was going to announce the arrest of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and his master plan to save the children. The Boylan family, who had been Googling for how to get someone free from a cult, couldn't convince her not to go to Washington. Roseanne told Blair, "If I'm wrong, you guys can do whatever you want to me. I just have this deep down feeling that I'm right. I want it to be proven that I'm right." They never got to that discussion. As a mob started the Capitol, Roseanne was in their midst. As they battled the line of police trying to protect the polished brass doors, Roseanne was lying on the terrace, unconscious. She would become one of the 4 rioters to die that day. An autopsy found she'd overdosed on amphetamines. Her family still questioned that conclusion, saying the only amphetamine in her body was the Adderall she'd been prescribed. Police attempting to reach Roseanne that day were attacked with fists and flagpoles. According to prosecutors pursuing cases against some of the rioters, video footage shows one man reaching over her body to bash a helmetless officer with a baton. To her gleeful attackers on the internet, Roseanne was a meme in the making, a woman with a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, trampled by her own co-conspirators. And here's where it becomes relevant. Not that this all wasn't relevant already to the current Vinted case, but for those studying QAnon, Roseanne's story was further proof that conspiracy theories about child sex trafficking were serving as on-ramps to far-right radicalization and disturbing acts of violence. There's so much misinformation about sex trafficking on TikTok and YouTube. Some people do seem genuinely concerned, and some people just look as though they're pandering and using it for likes and followers. But for those people who are genuinely concerned, I still don't think it's much of an excuse to be spreading baseless and very easily disprovable misinformation on child sex trafficking, because if you care that much, you should have done the minimum amount of research, in my opinion, to know just how harmful what you're spreading actually is. But obviously, what's done is done. I can only really hope now that people who haven't seen what I've shown you, people who haven't seen how the Vinted stuff was disproven and that there's no real evidence for child sex trafficking on Vinted, and that's not even how child sex trafficking works most of the time, are willing to change their mind because of the evidence that I am showing here, or that other people may have been showing. Obviously, I'm not the only one making a video like this, right? Because people who are too stubborn to admit that they are wrong about something like this are not only part of the problem, but a huge part of the problem. In fact, they're not part of the problem, they literally are the problem. A bunch of messages went viral as well, with like supposed sex trafficking sellers. This person here saying $681 for fingers or pounds or whatever. More listings, nice. What exactly am I getting for my money? A child, is that what you want? I mean, this is the most obvious fake bullshit I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe people actually believe this. Look, the age and size thing is right here on Vinted. It's a feature. It does this automatically. Oh my God. They gotta be Fed post, bro. There is no way they would have done these up so obvious. And then the top response is, they're making it obvious so dumb people like you think it's not true. Fuck me. I hate the internet. I really do. I hate the internet. It's like there's so many stupid fucking assholes who don't understand how harmful what they're perpetuating is because they're too focused on trying to seem moral and virtuous. It's so obviously fake. How do we not know these are fake? We're fucking devolving. I should show you all some of the TikToks that I've been talking about this whole time that actually, feed into this conspiracy and put children in harm's way. Under the illusion, of course, of actual research.
Some of you think that we shouldn't boycott Vinted for allowing adults to sell kids on their platform because it's not Vinted's fault. But after I show you what I just found after doing even more research on the matter yesterday, I'm going to prove to you how wrong you are.
Right, okay, so this is the thing as well. When you start the video bragging about how much research you're actually doing in regards to the situation, you kind of have no excuse for completely falling for the baseless and untrue conspiracy. This is the thing. You'll make fun of old people for falling for AI when you're just as bad. There was nothing. There was no evidence. There was nothing even slightly to suggest that any of those listings were genuinely selling children. And anyone who knows anything about real child sex trafficking will know that that's not how it works pretty much 100% of the time. Like, I can't really speak to the dark web or really underground shady websites, but there has not been one documented case of like a mainstream website like eBay or Vinted or Depop selling children, because it just would never, that's just not how it works. Like, it's not how it works. It's that simple. Not saying it's impossible or that it will never happen, but when conspiracies like this come out, just like the Wayfair one, just look back at the past. You've seen shit like this has happened before, and it's been fake, and it causes a lot of harm, like we just went over. And it's not necessarily difficult research to do either, especially now. This video was 3 days ago, and the fact check sort of exploded in popularity 3 days ago as well, so I'm not going to blame her too much for not seeing the exact fact check that I was showing you earlier, although she has made a follow-up, and, well, we'll have a look at that later too.
And now you should have seen all the listings directly linked to human
The listings have not been directly linked to human trafficking. You're using incredibly extreme and hyperbolic language to assert a certainty about the child trafficking here that is just not appropriate or responsible in the least. It'd be one thing to say that there are suspicions of child trafficking, there are suspicions of this going on Vinted, but for you to come on camera after blatantly not doing nearly enough research on child trafficking and saying that Vinted is being directly linked to child traffickers and they are absolutely selling children on the website, I think is unhinged. And it's why it shocks me so much that people take the opinions of TikTokers and TikTok comments so seriously and are so quick to distrust those non-profit organizations like the German one that I was just showing you guys earlier. Like, those companies have reputations on the line, they have fact checkers, they have a whole team of people working towards a common goal. TikTokers don't have any of that. They can lie about whatever the fuck they want. They can say whatever uneducated opinion they want and people will just believe them.
To this article, France probes Vinted over alleged exposure of children to pornographic content. So not only are sick, perverted adults selling kids on this platform.
Again, they're not. There are sick, perverted adults pretending to sell kids on the platform, but that is very different from actually selling kids on the platform. I'm sure I don't need to make that distinction, but yeah. Not saying that one is okay before you guys fucking come for me, but they are very different, and one is significantly worse. It's just, it's very important to not spread misinformation in regards to child sex trafficking. Sorry if that's like a controversial opinion.
Kids on this platform, but this online marketplace has been used for years apparently to literally expose children graphic content, because like I said, this article is nearly a year old and evidently no actual safeguarding measures have been implemented yet. But you think that we shouldn't boycott this company?
Vinted, children aren't allowed on Vinted, so if children are seeing pornographic content on Vinted, that's pretty objectively not actually really Vinted's fault. That's more of the fault of the parents for not monitoring their children's internet activity in a, I guess, efficient enough manner. There's pornographic content everywhere. There's pornographic content on TikTok, but like, you're on TikTok. You've not boycotted TikTok. Like, this is a huge issue with a lot of platforms, unfortunately.
Do you honestly think that a multi-million-dollar company like Vinted does not have the responsibility to uphold proper safeguarding procedures and measures to protect all users on the platform, but especially children who, by the way, aren't even allowed on the platform? If you don't think that they have a certain responsibility to uphold that level of standard, then you are sick in the head. Fuck you.
Jesus, like, it's so, like, hostile. But for what? I'm not saying it's good. Like, obviously it's bad that children are being shown pornographic content on Vinted. There have been cases of really sickening, vile videos on Vinted of, like, porn playing, right? There's, like, a mother with their teenage daughter or whatever, and and they're sort of sat there and they're scrolling on Vinted and a pornographic video comes up, yeah, that's bad, obviously. And if you want to boycott Vinted for that, that's like totally fine, sure. But it is also important to acknowledge that children aren't allowed on Vinted, and that pretty much every website, whether it be a video sharing one or a, you know, a selling products one, has this exact problem. There's pornographic shit everywhere, unfortunately. So unless you're willing to boycott literally everything, then I'm not sure what to tell you. But even that, it's irrelevant. Like, it's irrelevant to this actual discussion because it's being told, like, this issue here, which is a legit issue. I don't really blame you for this problem in and of itself, but it's being told alongside the extremely harmful lie that children are being sold on Vinted. Like, that's what the focus should be on here, and we're sidetracking a little bit.
We aren't telling these people to do these disgusting things, but if you actually use Vinted instead of pretending to know the platform, you would know that you are more likely to get permanently banned for listing the same item too many times than you are to get permanently banned for selling your own child.
See, that's the most unhinged, ridiculous, stupid, stubbornly wrong statement I think I've heard in forever. How would you even test that? Have you tried to sell a child on Vinted before, Kimberly? I don't imagine anyone has actually tried to sell their own child on Vinted, and if they have, we haven't seen it because Vinted took them down. And the ones that you are seeing that you're claiming are like the selling of children are all fake bullshit that you've fallen for hook, line, and sinker because you've done nowhere near as much research as you claim to have. But you've just sort of jumped to a conclusion extremely quickly and, intentionally or not, played a part in this insane fear-mongering campaign going on right now, and once again, direct harm to actual victims of child sex trafficking. Now, she has made a second video that of course we will watch because it's not fair otherwise, because this is the sort of thing where, like, look, even if you fuck up, you can come back and you can say, look, I jumped to a conclusion a little too quickly there, did a little more research, more stuff has come out, and it's been pretty proven irrefutably that there are no real child sex traffickers on Vinted selling actual children, and that all the posts that I was just talking about have been trolls or misunderstandings, right? So yeah, we'll hear her out.
I have heard that Vinted have now finally responded on their story to the claims of child and human trafficking being done on their website. And this is also following France, who are now also formally and officially investigating Vinted as well for the claims of human trafficking and the listings that showcase this that have been done on Vinted, the platform. So first, in case you've missed it, let's look at Vinted's story that was posted yesterday in response to the claims about adults selling kids on their platform. You can pause to read here. So this is basically a flat-out denial, which I honestly expected Vinted to do. They say that they're going to do their own internal investigations, which I do hope they do. But given Vinted's track record, again, if you actually use Vinted, you would know, they're not really known to be very thorough.
It's a flat-out denial because it's not just it's not Vinted flat-out denying it, though. The investigations have already occurred. There is more going on right now, sure. But the main bulk of it, enough has happened to where we can say irrefutably that those listings are not real children being sold. That's not how sex trafficking works. You are teaching people, you are spreading misinformation about how sex trafficking occurs. Real sex trafficking is going to be harder to point out now because people don't know what it is.
But also, don't forget that France are also investigating several strange ads on Vinted under suspicion of child trafficking, where the ads display plush toys and toys like that with very high prices and deceptive descriptions, where we've already discussed plenty of times on this page already. But now some updates have actually emerged where some journalists actually contacted the seller who was offering a 7-year-old girl. However, after some investigation, subsequent image analysis found that at least one of those photographs had been taken from the internet somewhere. So as of right now, nobody knows if that was some sort of scam or not.
What do you mean no one knows if it's some sort of scam? We know this. It's not a mystery. The posts aren't real. I understand that it sucks to be wrong. It hurts. It's difficult to admit when you're wrong about things. But in a case like this, where being wrong causes direct harm to actual children and actual future victims of sex trafficking, you have to sit there and sort of bite the bullet and go, I fucked up, I jumped to the conclusion too quickly. We are not investigative journalists. We are not detectives. We have to trust the third parties that have proven track records of debunking fake hoaxes and conspiracies like this. Well, you don't have to trust them. You can do what you want, obviously, but to say that you know better as just a TikToker, I think is crazy. Yeah, so I guess that's one set of TikToks that really annoyed me personally, but that's one of many. There are so many similar creators who are doing the same shit, right? So I just thought I'd make this video here to sort of counteract a lot of the bullshit that we're seeing online right now.
Now, you might remember a while back, there was this conspiracy theory that children were being trafficked through the furniture company Wayfair. And this was because customers had spotted these extortionate prices on furniture items, and then some even went as far as to marry up the names with children that had gone missing. Well, now French police are investigating these strange adverts on Vinted that list these items, again with completely disproportionate pricing, human-like descriptions. You've got heights listed on their ages. I'm going to give you some examples, but again, just as a heads up, you might find this distressing. First, there's this tiny pet toy. This is being listed as 110 centimeters. It's obviously not that tall, and that's being sold for 3,600 euros. Then we have this image of what looks like a cardboard cutout. This is listed as 7 years old, 122 centimeters, and 6,800 euros for a cardboard cutout. They've also listed LOL surprise dolls, right, 152 centimeters. They're again obviously not that tall, and they've listed the age of them as 12 years, when a quick Google search of this toy will tell you that this doll wasn't even out then. It only came out 10 years ago, and that's 3,000 euros. Baby alive, as real as can be, blonde, 1,050 euros. And there's even this one, which somebody has translated into saying 9 years old, white, virgin. And I could keep going because there's actually about a dozen examples of this, and I don't really like to engage publicly in the discussion of conspiracy theories, but this is what's out there. It's enough to be investigated by the French police. Something is off about those ads. Realistically, if those listings are on the site and they're only being noticed because of customers, it doesn't really sound like there's anybody monitoring the inconsistencies with those listings, which actually makes it a very viable place for predators to communicate with each other.
Now, the thing I will say, just to be, because I want to be clear here, obviously, because I know I'll get comments. I am not saying that it's like a negligible issue that these listings exist, even if they're not real. The fact that Vinted has allowed listings to come up that very much sort of pantomime or fake or act as though they're real child sex traffickers is obviously fucking disgusting, but we have to make the extremely, imperatively important distinction between trolls doing disgusting shit and actual child sex traffickers selling children on Vinted. And anyone who is against me making that distinction or thinks that me making said distinction makes me some kind of sex trafficker defender, frankly, you're fucking unhinged and you have no idea how harmful you're being, or you do understand how harmful you're being, and you're just so stubborn and scared of being wrong that you should probably never comment anything on the internet for the rest of your entire life. You know, there was one amazing video on TikTok that I found, by the way, actually, and the comments on this TikTok are like low-key what inspired me to make this video. So this guy here, I'll play a little bit of this video. He debunks the entire thing. He's made a video very similar to what I'm making, but on TikTok, right?
Harming children when you make posts saying that kids are being sold on Vinted. I know you have good intentions. I know you don't want to participate in something bad, but you inadvertently are when you share these posts. And if you want to be a good person, you need to behave like one for at least the next couple minutes and watch this video to the end. Spoiler
alert, no one did. And I know I sound like a bit of a hypocrite because I'm not going to show this entire video. However, we've covered very similar things, right? If you've watched this one, then again, though, the video, his name's on screen. Go watch this guy. He's a great creator. He's unreal. I will play some of this though, because there's a lot of stuff he talks about that I haven't. So yeah, big up this guy, Eddie Gluck.
There are so many posts. You will see screenshots of DMs. You will see 1,000 screenshots that look like the troll post I showed. And if you don't want to believe me, then believe every educated expert who has looked into it, because they have all determined that it's fake. Everyone is looking into it. No one is finding evidence. A couple days ago, a reputable French journalist messaged a listing for 20,000 euros, and the person responding said, "I will sell you a 7-year-old girl." And they went, "What?" But it turned out it was a 17-year-old boy trying to be a pred catcher. So it's a verifiably untrue, baseless.
Yeah, so not even all of them are trolls. Some of them are just really idiot kids trying to like catch people, I guess. Point is, there's a very easy and simple explanation for every single one of those posts that isn't an actual child sex trafficker selling children through fucking Vinted.
Conspiracy theory. And then I say it's causing harm and people will reply, but it's raising awareness. Even if it's not true, it's making people aware.
Yeah, The only thing it's making people aware of is how gullible they are. Because you are teaching people by promoting this story and acting as though it's real or has any amount of credibility to it, you are teaching them the wrong things about child sex trafficking. The conversation surrounding sex trafficking is fucked now. It was already hard to find good, meaningful insight in regards to that topic already, but now it's going to be even harder because people have blurred the lines and people don't know how it works. Now people genuinely think that a large proportion of child sex trafficking cases are children being sold online on websites like Vinted. That is not how child sex trafficking works 99% of the time.
This exact same conspiracy theory happened in 2020 with a step out and forget about. It's so bad that people were doxing and threatening the employees of these organizations.
And again, just to be clear, I think this one here is bigger than the Wayfair conspiracy. But look at these comments. It's just people completely refusing to listen to anything. This is what I was talking about. These stubborn motherfuckers who are doing so much harm, unimaginable harm. You got this comment here with 30,000 likes, more likes than any comment on this fucking TikTok, right? It's the sexual descriptions. Explain, virgin, tight, shy, obedient, used to it, noisy, he likes it rough, 12-year-old, girl, blonde, blue eyes. This were the original posts before people started joining in. This has literally happened before. Stop fucking ignoring it. Everyone that says it's a lie also defended Epstein. This person has not watched the video. This is the type of person who I just talked about that will comment on this video without actually watching any of it. Not only have we already seen in the short clips I've played of this TikTok him explain that one of those listings was a 17-year-old pred catcher, but the majority of them are just trolls trying to start conversation. One of the most verifiable anti-hoax fact checkers on the fucking planet has verified that there is no valid evidence that there is actual sex trafficking going on. The police have verified the exact same thing as well. But no, we can't listen to those fact checkers. We can't listen to those people that have to go through layers and layers and layers of security and actual research. We should listen to the random fucking TikTok comment and TikToker making a video for likes and views and money on fucking TikTok that don't need to fact check anything, that don't get punished for getting anything wrong. There's no reputation on the line. If that German fact-checking company gets something like this wrong, they're fucked. Their reputation is gone forever. If a random TikToker gets something wrong, they're fine. Because they're just a random person. They can make another video tomorrow if they wanted. And even if they did get it wrong, which a lot of them did, by the way, it wouldn't matter because you get fucking stupid comments like this with 30,000 fucking likes of people that will ride till the day they die just believing them because they're so scared, they're so stubborn, and they're so unwilling to refute, they're so unwilling to acknowledge when they're wrong, even if it directly harms the actual children that they're pretending to care about. Tight gives good head, pink. Man, that's some weird clothes. Well, first of all, pink is an actual description of clothes, so that one's irrelevant. People very rightfully comment, are you new to the internet? Ever heard of trolling? Hey, did you not watch the part where he says that everyone on these posts are just trolling, which has been verified, by the way. It's not just this guy saying it. This is not a case of just a TikToker or a YouTuber saying it. We're actually using verifiable sources and valid evidence, unlike every other fucker that is supporting and feeding into this conspiracy, who have no evidence. And then someone goes, doesn't make it okay. When did we say it did make it okay? All we're saying is that there's no child sex trafficking going on. We are not saying, oh yeah, perfectly fine and dandy, make those posts. They're really funny, actually. I might do a bit of trolling and pretend to be a child sex trafficker online tomorrow. Obviously, it's not okay, but it's important to establish and acknowledge what's actually going on. It really isn't fucking complicated, dude. I wish that YouTube and TikTok had features where you are unable to comment on the video unless you have watched the entire thing. I think it would make the comment section to this video here so much healthier than it will inevitably end up being. Because I just know, I'm almost dreading putting this fucking video out because I just know how bad it's gonna be. Don't get me wrong, there'll be a lot of good ones, and I really, really, really do appreciate people who give actual insightful commentary on the videos that I make, whether it be critical or, you know, a good comment or whatever. I really do fucking appreciate that. Even if you disagree with anything I've said in this video, if you mention so constructively and actually try to explain why with like an actual explanation, I'll appreciate that shit. There's also going to be 50% of the comment section which just haven't watched the video and will immediately label me a child sex trafficker in disguise. I'm not even fucking around, by the way. I know what's going to happen. Vinted has responded. An update regarding recent listing allegations on Vinted. We have thoroughly investigated the listings currently being shared online and found no credible cases linking them to criminal activity. Where those listings were deliberately faked to fuel this conversation, we are swiftly removing them and taking action on accounts, including bans. We are collaborating closely with the relevant authorities as they conduct their own investigation. We are working relentlessly to keep Vinted safe for our members. This does not stop people, however, from making really, really, really stupid and harmful comments on their TikToks. So is the platform doing anything about about this here, yeah, they're deleting all the posts, actually. You can't really find these anymore. Save the kids with 40,000 hearts. If you really wanted the kids saved, you wouldn't have commented this stupid bullshit. It's magical. It's magical. You go through the Vinted comment sections, the ones that are still up, and it's all just a cesspit of hive-minded fools, completely unknowledgeable of the harm that they're doing. You got one person even commenting these obviously fake screenshots too. 16,000 likes, of course. And then the current comments have been turned off. And to be honest, I don't blame them. I think it's a good move turning the comments off, because when the comments are on, all you get is misinformation that damages real victims. So I can't even criticize Vinted for that response, really. They've done what they can. They've made a response. They've deleted the posts, and they are continuing to delete the posts. From what I understand, it's very difficult to find posts like that on Vinted now. Obviously, they shouldn't have been up to begin with, but they were. There's nothing we can do about that now, and Vinted is doing the right thing. And I don't blame them for privating the comments. I think it is genuinely probably the best thing to do here. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this topic. That's all there is to it, really. I apologize for getting a little more heated than I usually do, but like, God, these videos really do annoy me, because the internet is once again completely unknowledgeable of how harmful it is being. Even people who think they have good intentions, or do have good intentions, a lot of them don't realize how harmful they're being. And I'm sorry if I got a little too heated at points, or started shouting at people or criticizing people that do genuinely have good intentions. If any of those commenters happen to be watching this video and I got a little vitriolic, I'm sorry, but I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. And with all that being said, hopefully you all enjoyed or learned something from this video, and I will catch you all in the next one. So yeah, bye.